All right, let's jump right into a fascinating puzzle. How is it possible that a super high risk, politically unstable country in West Africa is suddenly more important to our energy future than one of the most stable, resource rich places on the entire planet? I mean, it sounds backwards, right? Well, it all comes down to a story of timing, risk, and a massive global energy crunch that's just around the corner.
So here's a question for you, and it's going to sound a little crazy. What on earth connects the future of AI, we're talking giant, power-hungry data centers, to a military coup that just happened in West Africa? The link seems impossible, but it's not. The answer is one single, incredibly important element: uranium. And once you understand that connection, you'll see the massive energy crisis we're all about to face.
Okay, so what's happening is basically a perfect storm for uranium demand. First, you've got the AI boom. Tech giants like Microsoft and Google are realizing their data centers need an insane amount of power, and they're turning to nuclear to get it. Then you have countries like Japan, who are firing up old reactors they shut down years ago. On top of all that, there are more than 60 new reactors being built around the world as we speak. And to cap it off, 22 countries just promised to triple their nuclear capacity by 2050. So yeah, the demand is just exploding. There's really no other way to put it. A huge supply crisis isn't just possible, it's practically baked in.
So with demand going through the roof, where do you get the uranium? Well, the obvious answer, the one everyone points to, is Canada. It's literally called the Saudi Arabia of uranium for a reason. It's packed with the stuff.
And specifically, we're talking about the Athabasca Basin. I mean, just look at it. It's the definition of stable, it's beautiful, it's reliable, it's a first world country with solid laws. On paper, it is the absolute perfect zero-risk solution to this whole problem. And when you look at the numbers, it's not even a contest. The Athabasca Basin just dominates. Total reserves? Check. Better geology? You bet. Rock-solid political stability? Absolutely. It already controls a huge chunk of the world market. I mean, from every angle, it looks like a total slam dunk.
But here's the kicker, the stat that just blows everything else away. The quality of the uranium ore in Canada is 20 to 50 times better. Let me say that again, 50 times richer than what you find in Niger. To put that in perspective, for every 1 truckload of rock you have to dig up and process in Canada, you'd need to dig up 50 truckloads in Niger to get the same amount of uranium. The advantage is just, it's absolutely massive.
So, case closed, right? Canada is the perfect source, problem solved. Well, not so fast. Here's the twist. This perfect solution has one single fatal flaw. We're going to call it the 30-year problem. So you've got to be asking, what's the catch? I mean, with all of that going for it, why isn't Canada the easy, straightforward answer to this whole mess? Well, here it is. And it's kind of ironic, actually. Canada's greatest strength, its stability, its careful planning, its strong regulations, is also its biggest weakness in a crisis like this. To get a new mine up and running there, you're looking at years, sometimes a decade or more, of just environmental studies. Then comes another decade of navigating federal and provincial approvals. All in all, you're talking a staggering 25 to 35 years from start to finish. And that leads us to a really blunt, unavoidable conclusion. It's just too late. A new project started in Canada today won't produce a single pound of uranium until 2050, maybe even 2060. Think about that. The supply crisis we're worried about is happening now, between 2025 and 2035. Canada completely misses the boat. It's the perfect solution for 30 years from now, but it does absolutely nothing to solve the problem we have right now. And that, believe it or not, brings us to our unlikely hero, Niger. Now, let's be clear, it's a deeply flawed option. But it has the one thing the world desperately needs that Canada just doesn't have: speed.
Yeah, this is a world away from the green forests of Canada, isn't it? We're looking at the Tim Mersoï Basin in Niger. Now, this place has been producing uranium for a long time, so they know what they're doing. But it's also a place with, well, let's just say extreme political instability. We're talking about the military coup that just happened in 2023.
So this is the fundamental trade-off the world is staring at right now. On one hand, you have Niger. They can get a mine producing in 10 to 14 years, less than half the time it takes in Canada. But you have to accept huge political risk and way lower quality ore. The bottom line is crystal clear. Niger can actually deliver uranium in time to meet this crisis. Canada, for all its strengths, simply can't. So really, this whole thing just boils down to one simple conflict: Speed versus quality. And when you're in an emergency, when you're about to run out of something critical, timing isn't just a factor, it's the only factor that matters.
Look, the math here is brutally simple. Step 1, we have a massive uranium shortage coming in the next 10 years, from 2025 to 2035. Step 2, a new mine in Canada started today. It completely misses that window. It won't help at all. Step 3, in Niger, you can expand a mine that's already permitted and get more supply on the market by 2028. It hits the window perfectly. It's the only option that actually solves the problem in time.
And because the timeline is so clear, this is how you have to think if you're an investor or a power company. If you need to secure uranium for that critical 2025 to 2035 window, where does your money go? It has to go to Niger. You have to prioritize expanding existing mines and even starting new ones there. The Canadian projects, as great as they are for the future, just aren't the priority for solving the problem right now.
Which brings us to the tough conclusion here. Relying on a place like Niger, it's a huge risk, but it's a necessary risk. Why? Because the world simply can't wait 30 years. One of the analyses we looked at just laid it out there, plain and simple. It said the world needs uranium now, not in 30 years. Niger is the only answer. It's blunt, but that's the reality of the situation the energy market is in. So, what's the final verdict here? Well, it's pretty clear. For the next 10, 15 years, Niger is absolutely essential. Its speed is the only thing that can stop a major crisis. But for the long term, say 2040 and beyond, that's when Canada becomes the star player with its stability and amazing quality. So the big takeaway here isn't that one is better than the other. It's that the world desperately needs both. It needs Niger to survive the immediate crisis, and it needs Canada to build a stable future. And that really leaves us with a tough question to chew on, doesn't it? When we're facing a global energy crisis, how much political risk, how much instability are we willing to accept as the price for just keeping the lights on, for powering the AI and the technology we're all coming to rely on? There's no easy answer to that one. Something to think about. Thanks for joining me for this one.